This episode is brought to you by Freeman Painting. Freeman Painting is Alabama's most reliable painting service, transforming homes and businesses by providing expert service with a proven process. Freeman Painting always gets the job done in a timely manner, giving you time to enjoy moments that matter in the spaces you love. Give the guys at Freeman Painting a call at 205-300-4848. That's 205-300-4848. Freeman Painting. We do the painting, you do life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Game Managers Podcast, where we talk Alabama and Auburn and SEC football every week. My name is Nick Norris. I'm a sports writer and a college football fanatic. And with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Auburn fan Justin Knight.
How's it going, guys?
And Alabama fan Herren Patterson.
Howdy.
All right, how did you guys feel about football today?
I thought it was a pretty great day. Georgia lost. Florida lost. It's a good day in my books.
Thought it was a pretty good day overall. We won. That's all I'm really worried about right now.
Alabama did win, and those two teams did lose, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But right off the top, I want to say that we have a new website up, so you can go to now. It's thegamemanagers.com.
Go check it out. It's great.
Yeah, go check it out. Go read some articles. Go listen to some podcasts. If you've already listened to them, listen to them again, because there's nothing like hearing 4-week-old news.
Man, you really sold that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. I really want to go check it out right now.
Well, you can actually but let's wait. Let's wait till after the podcast.
You should at least go see the host page.
Yeah, the host page is good.
Yeah, that's definitely the best page.
I was pretty proud of that.
It's quality meme.
So today we're going to talk about Alabama's win over Texas A&M, Auburn's bye week and what they can improve on, Georgia losing, LSU winning, and Florida losing. So a lot of topics today, but first, Herren, do you know what time it is?
I believe so.
It's time for Twitter news.
Twitter news!
Playoffs? Let's talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
It really doesn't matter what you think.
You play to win the game. You play to win the game.
Go ahead and hit us with a tweet, Herren.
All right.
Yeah, come on. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
So first is from Quick Slant Enthusiast, which is Will Elliott 22 on Twitter. He says, "I just want somebody to love me as much as Belovus. I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry. Loves the right goalpost," and that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I saw about 7 of this pretty similar tweets. That was my favorite.
Yeah, he hit 2 off the right goalpost today. Both went in.
Yeah, if you would have told me that, I would have said there was a 0% chance that either one of them were good. The next is by Texas Takeover. It says, "Jalen Hurts is a smug, arrogant clown. When asked about Texas OU, he said, 'I played in the Iron Bowl. I think I'll be just fine.' What a joke. Texas OU and Michigan Ohio State have the most ranked versus ranked matchups in college football history. Iron Bowl doesn't come close. Jalen in for a rude awakening." So
yeah,
I thought he
okay.
did,
Well, Jalen,
he had a pretty good second half. So
yeah, they did okay today. I think he was all right.
the next one is next one says, "Texas beats LSU and OU this year. Jalen Hurts is average on his best day."
That one aged poorly already.
Apparently, it didn't have any replies to begin with, because the very first one says, "Well, Jalen had a pretty good day."
yeah,
It was written by the creator, so I think he realized. that it didn't age well.
He screwed up.
Yeah, and going back to the one before that, I would say that the Iron Bowl and the South's oldest rivalry are both bigger than the River rivalry and the Michigan-Ohio State
Well,
game.
see, when I'm thinking of Michigan-Ohio State, I'm trying to think the last time. I mean, that really hasn't decided a national championship winner or who's going to go to the Big Ten championship. You know, I haven't had big impact
it's
games
been
in
what's
a while.
kept Michigan out a couple times in the recent years. But
you haven't had a national championship out of that game, like from a winner,
yeah.
like you do from Alabama-Auburn. Even though it's usually Alabama, it's one-sided, but
I would probably have to say, other than Army-Navy, that those 3 games, the Iron Bowl, Texas, the Red River rivalry, and Michigan-Ohio State, are probably the 3 biggest rivalries in college
those are the 3
football, in my
biggest.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're big games, but I would say the Iron Bowl is the biggest, in my opinion.
I feel like my chair's just squeaking right into the mic, so I'm sorry about that. And about the dog that's barking in my ear right outside the window. Hope the mic doesn't pick that up.
I've got one outside my window, too, on the other side of the house, so that's awesome.
All right, the next one is by Saturday Down South. It says, Bar Tab in Athens, $50. Tickets to the game, $100. UGA playing against a backup QB, winless. It's actually their 3rd string.
3rd string because the backup got hurt.
Yeah.
Every team from now on will be playing their backup against Georgia. I don't know what Kirby Smart, who has cursed him with this. But
yeah. Our Kryptonite's kickers, his is backup quarterbacks.
I think Florida's looking pretty good right now.
All right, so the next one says Georgia finally stopped copying Alabama, and it has a picture of the scoreboard of both games. Thought that was pretty good.
That's funny. Yeah, because the joke there recently, they copied the stadium lights, the red lights, and then they copied the
care
packages.
Yeah, I mean, they want to be Alabama so bad. So the next one is Matt from the Ostrich, and says, what a win for Coach OU and LSU. You have to wonder what he told his players before the game. I'm sure they are wondering too.
That's definitely the best one.
I love it when he gets excited too. I was listening to him talk after the game.
Oh yeah,
and
that was
it's
good.
even worse when he's excited.
It's so bad.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers! All right. Now, the last 2, you're going to have to go look up your own, but I promise it's worth it.
We'll retweet them on the Game Manager's
because they're
Twitter,
both videos.
at TGMPod.
So the first one is at someone's an idiot on Twitter. It says, flashback, 2 years ago today, Jay Freely, a man CBS literally hired as a kicking expert for their games, watched the kick and thought he made it. Just go watch the video on that tweet.
That was
hilarious.
Oh man,
I had forgotten about this until you sent it to me the other night, and
that was
rolling.
Yeah, that wasn't even close, man.
And then
nobody else even.
This right
Nobody was
here
even saying
is
anything.
By far my favorite. That video is very, very funny, but this one is by far my favorite. It's at Jimbo Slice 492 on Twitter, and it says, "Why is Jim Harbaugh in an audience of this episode of Judge Judy?" just pans through the audience real quick. It's just Harbaugh just sitting there randomly in a Judge Judy episode. It's so funny.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
That's a weird dude.
That's all I got.
Well, that was a good segment this week, Aaron.
Great segment.
Now we're going to jump into our next segment, Tide versus Tigers trivia. This week we've got Manny and John calling in, and they're going to be playing for a koozie and a keychain. This week's segment of Tide vs. Tigers Trivia is brought to you by Metal Central. Metal Central, located in Jasper, is your source for metal roofing that lasts a lifetime. Metal Central also offers metal building packages, custom trim, doors, and more to complete any job. Call Metal Central for a quote today. 205-385-7575. That's 205-385-7575. All right, now let's get into today's segment of Tide vs. Tigers Trivia.
Hello, this is Manny.
Hey, Manny, where are you calling from?
Calling from Athens, Alabama.
Athens, Alabama. We also have John on the phone. John, where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I'm calling from Opelika.
Opelika. All right, well, Manny's going to be representing the Crimson Tide in today's trivia, and John will be representing the Auburn Tigers. Manny, we're going to start out with you. Aaron, you got the first question?
All right, Manny. One of the greatest athletes Bear Bryant ever coached. This Hall of Fame quarterback was drafted by the New York Jets in the first round of the 1965 draft and nicknamed Broadway. Who was it?
Joe Namath.
Correct.
All right, John, we're moving on to you. How many Heisman Trophy winners did Auburn have in the 1970s and 1980s?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, how many Heisman winners did Auburn have in the 1970s and 1980s?
70 and 80.
What?
I know they have 3 total.
Right.
Well, you asked for the 70s and 80s. But I'm just trying to... in the 80s, Bo Jackson.
Right.
I think the first guy was in his late 60s. So, yeah, one Bo Jackson.
That was close. Pat Sullivan actually won it in 71.
All right, Manny. How many national championships did Alabama win in the 1970s?
In the 1970s, I think it was 8.
It was 3 national championships in the 70s there.
What? Oh.
All right, we're getting close. John, you ready for the next question?
Yep, ready.
All right. In 1993, Auburn capped its undefeated season by beating Alabama 22-14 at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn looked to be in trouble when early in the game, not only were they losing, but the starting quarterback Stan White got injured. His replacement came in and was simply amazing, leading the Tigers to a comeback victory. Who was he?
That's Patrick Nix.
Patrick Nix, father of current quarterback Bo Nix. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
got him tied up. All right, Manny.
All right. Who set an Alabama record for most rushing yards in 1999?
In
1999.
Was it Bobby Humphrey?
Nope, it was Sean Alexander. He passed Bobby Humphrey in the 1999 Iron Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Close.
Very close. All right, John.
Y'all making me feel like I ain't a big Bama fan.
Some of these questions are pretty hard.
Yeah, nobody's doubting it. All right, John. In the 1983 Sugar Bowl, who made 3 field goals, providing Auburn's only points?
Oh, I don't know kickers real well. What year?
83.
Oh, I don't have an answer. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That was Aldel Greco.
Yeah, I suck as an Auburn fan.
That was
I got to tell you, those watching this podcast are those two shouldn't be even in the SEC.
Yeah, that was the only scores in the 9-7 win against Michigan.
All right, Manny. Born in 1965, this biscuit won the Lombardi Award. He was drafted in the first round of 1987 by the Indianapolis Colts, but was traded in the trade of the decade to the Buffalo Bills due to a contract dispute where he was a star linebacker.
It's 1965 he was born, and nicknamed the Biscuit.
I actually met this man when I was a kid at the Iron Bowl.
Oh,
On Lewis Bennett.
that's right.
Correct.
That's right.
Number 97.
Yeah.
That dude is huge.
He was a big guy. That's right. All right, John.
All right.
Prior to being called the Tigers, by what other names had Auburn's athletic teams been called?
Prior to the Tigers.
prior to the Tigers.
Well, I've always thought they were called the Tigers.
Well, that's correct. They have always been the Tigers. Trick question.
Wow. All right. All right, Manny, last question. Bear Bryant lost only 2 home games during his 25 years at Alabama. Name the 2 teams that he lost to
Oh, man.
at home.
I'm pretty sure one is about to be the...
Now, remember, this was when the Iron Bowl was still played in Birmingham, so it wouldn't be Auburn. Give you that.
Field. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
2 teams that he lost to.
At home.
Texas A&M and Kentucky.
No, those are good guesses, though. But it was actually Florida and Southern Miss, if you can believe it.
Oh, Southern Miss.
Yeah.
That's actually the only game I made it to this year.
Oh, yeah.
That game's got a lot of history, even with like pro throw.
Yeah, it does. There's also with Auburn, too. Southern Miss has beaten Auburn a few times, I believe. All right, John. Last question. In 2003, Auburn won the Capital One Bowl as a heavy underdog against a Penn State team with Heisman finalist Larry Johnson at running back. The Auburn defense held him under 80 yards on the day, while this second-string Auburn running back stole the spotlight, gaining 180-plus yards. Who was that other running back? 2003.
2003. Who was the first running back?
That was Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. 2003. I'm gonna say Cadillac Williams.
That's wrong, actually. That was a good guess. It was Ronnie Brown.
Oh yeah, Ronnie.
Yeah. Cadillac really came in the spotlight in the next year, in 04.
Yeah, you're off.
Yeah.
That was an incredible backfield, though.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
it definitely was. A good couple years for Auburn. But all right, that was Manny, I believe, that took the win on this one.
Just edged him out.
all right, congratulations, Manny. Good, appreciate y'all having us on here.
Absolutely. Thank you, both you guys. Manny, I'll get your contact information, and I'll message you for that, and we'll get these prizes sent right over to you.
Sounds great. Appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Good game, John. Yep. Thank you. War Eagle. Roll Tide.
And Manny will be going home this week with the Alabama koozie and keychain for this week's prize. And next week we'll be doing it again with a different prize. So if you're interested in playing, go on our Facebook, like and comment on the post we'll be posting next week. And yeah, you'll be in the running to play. All right, so let's talk about Georgia first.
Let's talk about him.
What were your takeaways from this game, both of you?
Fromm is overrated.
Overrated. I agree.
And I bet they are really, really missing Justin Fields right about now.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot on Twitter too. A lot of people talking about wishing Justin Fields was still around because Fromm threw 3 picks today. One of them wasn't really his fault, but 2 of them very much were.
Yeah, I saw believe they're 0-5 when he throws more than 30 passes, and I thought that was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Well, this season, he's only had to throw the ball like 15, 20 times a game. He hasn't had to do anything because the running game's been really good. And so today that finally backfired.
So Georgia entered the home game against South Carolina a 23.5-point favorite. That didn't work out too well. They ended up going in double overtime. And,
How about these terrible kickers too, man? They're just head cases.
Yeah.
Well, see, Georgia's kicker though, he's one of the all-time best in the SEC. And I don't know how he missed that one today.
He had a tough time today. So going back to Jake Fromm, he was 28 for 51, 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 30.
And one of them a pick six that changed the game.
Yeah. On the other side, Helinski went 15 for 20 for 116 yards and a touchdown. And then Joyner went 6 for 12 with 39 yards. So both their quarterbacks did all right.
And
They
see,
didn't
I
throw
thought,
3 picks.
yeah. See, I thought this might be the year for Georgia, just because I think they really have a great defense, but I don't know where in the world they go from here now.
Better win
I mean,
out.
now I don't know if they'll beat Florida.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, I don't know what could happen in that game after watching them today.
Yeah, after watching them the last couple of weeks, they
Yeah,
haven't
really,
been
'cause they
as
struggled with-
impressive.
Yeah, they
And
struggled with
Florida
Tennessee
has.
last week. Yeah.
Now, the defense played well. They only allowed 17.
They only gave up. Yeah, and the 17, one of them was a pick six. So, I mean,
Yeah, so they gave up 142 yards rushing, which isn't great, but and then they gave up 155 receiving.
so
But
I mean,
their
only-
offense was, the defense was on the field the whole game, so that was
Yeah.
more understandable. Also, they didn't allow a single rushing touchdown, and there was only one receiving touchdown.
Yeah.
So,
Let's say I don't understand how in the world, if you're Georgia, do you lose a game like this at home? Once again, I don't understand how you blow games like this.
Yeah, I was very surprised too with it being in Athens.
yeah, I get that everyone has a bad game, but
But at home,
goodness gracious, this was ugly.
yeah,
I think this makes it a really compelling argument for who's going to win the East, though.
yeah, really. I mean, Florida really has a great chance now, even after losing tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Do you think Florida will be ranked higher than Georgia in the next rankings?
I think they should be, but I don't know if they will.
They won't. I think Georgia will probably drop down to like 7 or 8.
Well, Georgia's dropping from 3 and Florida's dropping from 7. Is that right? 7 or 8?
Yeah, so I think Florida will be like 10 maybe.
But Florida's loss is so much better than Georgia's.
Yeah, but you know how these rankings can be sometimes.
Yeah.
So Georgia
I
does
know.
have a good win over Notre Dame, but Florida also has a good win over Auburn.
Yeah.
So
Did either of you realize that all 3 of Fromm's interceptions were picked off by the same guy?
I did. Yeah,
I
he's got
did,
player of the game. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure, or at least defensive player of the game.
I mean, you ain't going to see a
Israel
better game from that.
Makumu? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But.
Yeah. Amazing game.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would probably put Florida above Georgia right now.
It probably won't happen.
I don't think it will either, but I would probably put them above them.
Because, I mean, Florida, we'll talk about that later, but, I mean, they surprised me tonight, how they played against LSU.
Yeah, so if you were to pit them against each other right now, who would you pick?
I'd say Florida, because
Yeah,
Florida's
I'd
got a
take
really
Florida as
good
well.
defense.
What do you think?
I-
What do you think the point spread would be, or should be in your mind?
It'd probably be like Florida 1.5, maybe. Probably something like that.
Yeah, real close.
Yeah. Because I think they're both really even. Their offenses aren't that good, but they have 2 solid defenses.
I would take Florida, especially after tonight, with the way they utilized. I think he's number 5, their third-string quarterback. I guess he's the primary. The way they used him tonight, because they've struggled running the ball. Of course,
Yeah,
they've
they
played
have.
Auburn and now LSU. But they've still struggled running the ball, and the way they utilized him and Fromm and that tight end, I think I would take them over Georgia right now.
Well, Florida's got, they go to South Carolina next week. Then they get a bye week right before they host Georgia.
So, yeah, if I'm Florida, I wouldn't take South Carolina lightly after today. So,
Or is
hopefully they come in.
that game at a neutral site? It is, isn't it? Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, it's always in Jacksonville.
Oh,
I
Florida,
believe.
Florida,
Right.
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, so...
The cocktail party.
Yeah, sorry. I said host, but... so both Georgia and Florida have a bye week going into that game. Georgia's got Kentucky next in the bye, and then November 2nd we'll have Florida versus Georgia, presumably for the East.
Yeah, I agree.
Although Georgia could beat Florida and then lose to LSU, and if Florida won out, they'd still...
That's
go.
true.
So it's going to be a good game, though. It's going to be really interesting.
I agree. See how Fromm bounces back.
This was not a good week for fans in Georgia, especially for Atlanta teams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Forgot
The
about
Braves
that.
going down this
That
past
was
week,
11.
too.
It's hard to
11
watch.
runs in the first inning.
That was
10 or 11.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Very hard to watch.
That's
And
Georgia
then the
sports,
Falcons,
though.
of course, not being very hot.
The Falcons suck.
Yeah.
they're bad. There's no getting
they are.
around that.
Well, let's move on to LSU, Florida. Let's move on into that. What were your first thoughts coming from this game?
Like I said, I thought I was impressed with how Florida played. Going into the game, I didn't think it'd be close, just with how banged up Florida was and the amount of turnovers they had last week against Auburn. But I think I'm just more surprised about how bad LSU's defense is. I'd never think an LSU defense would be this bad, but it's really not that good. I didn't think Florida would be able to move the ball like they did. But once again, Joe Burrow is looking like a Heisman candidate.
I don't think that they were necessarily that bad. Like, they still are very talented in the secondary. I think it was more impressive just the way Florida was able to convert on third down and keep drives alive and just, driving down the field instead of just scoring in 2 minutes. They take 5 minutes off the clock each drive.
Yeah.
And the way they use that third quarterback to put some of the running game together definitely helps them out.
I don't like
forward.
how much they run Trask with the bad knee.
Yeah, I don't
They ran,
like that. Like
they
that
ran him
last
too
play with the
much.
option. I don't get that.
It was a dumb call.
Some stuff I don't quite understand, but I think there was only one real bad play that number 5 made while throwing the ball. Other than that, I thought he looked pretty good throwing the ball too. He just must be real young, and
Yeah, he's a freshman.
so he looks pretty good too, though. But I'm still going back to how in the world was Felipe Franks starting over either one of those guys?
Yeah, I don't know how he's starting over. Trask has been there
Man.
for, 4 years now?
I don't get it. I do
It
not
doesn't make
get
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good game.
Yeah, he went 23 for 39, 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. But yeah, pretty good stats. So my initial thought from this game is that, like you, Justin, I was impressed with Florida. The 42-28 score makes it look worse than what it was, really, because one of those scores came late. But
Yeah.
to me, it seems like this Florida team, the beginning of the season, it just hadn't come together, and now they're coming together while the opposite is happening at Georgia. It almost feels like they're falling apart.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why that is. I think that Kyle Trask maybe has a good, maybe he's a good leader, or maybe Felipe is. They kind of rallied around his injury. I don't know, but
Or Felipe's just a terrible quarterback and a better guy.
I'm going
Came
with
in.
that take. Personally.
that's possible too.
I mean,
but
you gotta like Trask. I mean, he's a committed dude. He hadn't started a game since his sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, 9th grade.
He was a
and
back-
JV game.
I think it was
Yeah.
his freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ninth
because he was a
grade and a
backup
JV
quarterback. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta love how committed he is to the team
Which,
and
by
not
the way,
transferring anywhere.
What was the quarterback? I want to know who started over him. What happened to that guy?
It was, I don't know, but it was
'Cause
a
I
top
don't remember.
recruit. Yeah.
Well, Joe Burrow, he was a star again tonight. He went 21 for 24, which is pretty great. I think he didn't have his. I don't
No,
think
you
he
go
had a
ahead.
second incompletion until like midway through the third quarter.
Yeah. I mean, his completion percentage for the season is amazing. I mean, it's almost at 80%, I think. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
He had 293 yards to the air and 3 touchdowns. And then he carried it 6 times for 43 yards.
Yeah, I
And
will say I've been surprised with.
Me
his
too.
play.
Yeah, I was just about
I hate
to
to
say.
say it because I do not like the guy personally, but
A lot of
Yeah,
people
I'll-
don't,
Yeah.
but you can't deny that he's doing pretty well.
he's one
I
of
was about to
those
say
that
when-
he's felt the same way about Baker Mayfield too. I never was a big fan of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, when he
they
came
just
into the
kinda
season-
see the same to me.
Talking about how they were going to score 40, 50 points a game, I was like, okay, LSU, yeah. But I doubted him too, and this has been such an impressive start.
Yeah,
So
it
it's-
really has.
And I think of course, it's going to come down to LSU Bama for the West. So
I'm still feeling Bama right now.
I am too, because LSU's not going to be able to stop Alabama.
Yeah, that's
It's gonna
what
be
I
a
think
shootout.
so. Yeah,
That was
I
my
agree.
opinion.
I think that Alabama will be able to put up more points against their defense than LSU would be able to put up against Alabama's.
It's going to be a shootout, though.
No, absolutely. It'll be a high-scoring game.
Yeah. It won't be the 9-6 game of old.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So, what do you think? How do you think these teams fare for the rest of the season? Florida, of course, has got Georgia left, but then they've got Vandy, Mizzou, and Florida State, which those 3 should be easy wins.
I think Florida should win the East.
Yeah,
At this point, they should win it.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean, I just don't see Georgia coming back and impressing me too much.
Yeah, I don't
Right
either.
now, I'm taking Florida to probably win out, and yeah, I still think Georgia's a good matchup for Auburn. I think they possibly drop that game, so I could see. I could see Georgia with 3 losses at the end of the year.
Yeah, so on the flip side of that, LSU, they have left on the schedule. They get a bye week, and then they get Arkansas. Oh, I'm sorry. They get Mississippi State, Auburn at home. Then they have a bye week. Then they're at Alabama, at Ole Miss, Arkansas, and then Texas A&M at home. They have a much difficult road ahead than Florida, in my opinion.
Does LSU have to play Georgia this year?
No,
They don't
not
this
in
year.
the
Okay.
regular season. Yeah, but they do have Auburn, Alabama, and Texas A&M all left.
Yeah, so you never know, but LSU's they're in the driver's seat right now. Them and
Yeah.
Alabama for the West.
I think so too. Yeah, I think whoever wins that game is gonna be playing in the SEC championship. But
Yeah,
you never
I
know.
agree.
Auburn might make some noise and change that.
Yeah, I guess you never know.
What's just tough for Auburn though is that because they already have an SEC loss, they have to win. They have to beat LSU and Alabama and Georgia. Because if they
Yeah.
just drop one of those, they have 2 losses and
See,
they
that's
won't get in.
That's the thing. I think if they were to lose to LSU, they would need the hope LSU somehow loses 3 games.
Yeah, you need them. You need them to lose at least 2 games, and then Alabama to lose at least 2 games, or 3, I guess.
Well, Alabama can lose 2 if you beat them, because then you
Yeah,
have the
but
tiebreaker
LSU,
against them.
if you lost
yeah,
to them.
LSU's got to lose 3, so
Right.
it'd be pretty much impossible.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, I'm really impressed with both of these teams, and I'm excited to see how they do the rest of the year. I'm glad that the SEC is kind of back, and it seems like in the last year and so that and this past few months at the beginning, that the SEC was a little bit down, not very much, but not as strong as it
Yeah.
used to be. And right now, it seems really strong.
Yeah, except for Vandy.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Vandy. Let's
Yeah.
just pretend they don't exist.
Oh, they need to know people know that they exist. They need to know people know just how bad they are.
They were a 15-point favorite today, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they lost by more
24?
than that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It's insane.
That's what I thought.
UNLV.
who's also 1-4, who got whipped by Wyoming and teams of that nature. So,
yeah, and that cost us. That cost me some points on the SEC pool that we're in.
It did not cost me any because I
It didn't cost either
UNLV.
one of you. Both of you got 3 points off that game.
Great pick, Aaron. Great pick.
You're the only two to pick them out of the 11 in this pool.
Yeah.
Well,
I was like, Vandy just keeps letting me down, and I'm a little behind right now, so I need to catch up anyways. And those
because
if the spread's more than 10, we get 3 points in our pool.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to take a chance because if anybody's bound to screw this up, it's gonna be Vandy.
It's Vandy.
So that's the risk reward was there.
Yeah.
Because I went with Vandy last week against Ole Miss. I was like, oh, what the heck? I need some points. And, I mean, they got whipped, so I was like, there ain't no way I'm ever picking Vandy again.
Well, before we get into Alabama and Auburn, let's talk about just really quick Mississippi State and Tennessee because Tennessee got a win today. Conference win. Yeah. I'm not surprised because I picked them to win that game too. The way they played against Georgia last week, I was like, Tennessee's going to handle Mississippi State today, and they did. They've kind of bounced back, which we were talking about this, of course, early in the season. We're like, we don't even see them winning an SEC game this season. And they played. They played Georgia. Yeah, they played well.
After the way they played Georgia, and before I knew that Georgia was going to somehow fumble that game, I was thinking, I could see Mississippi State going into Tennessee and not playing real well and getting beat. But by no means did I think Tennessee was going to beat them, and I think it was a little bit of both. So.
Man, how about how
I'm still surprised.
How about how bad Mississippi State is?
Yeah, they
suck.
3-3. Okay, so let's see who they got left on the schedule. So they just lost to Tennessee. They're going to travel to LSU next week.
Hey, they got Bama at home.
Then they got Texas A&M at home. Or no, no. They got LSU at home. They travel to Texas A&M, travel to Arkansas, get Alabama at home, get Abilene Christian at home, whoever that is, and then of course the Egg Bowl. There's a very good chance that this team doesn't get bowl eligible.
I'm saying 5-7.
Yeah, I think that's a fair guess. I'm gonna say they edge out Arkansas. They beat Abilene Christian.
So you're saying 6-6?
No. I think 5-7. No, they'll beat Ole Miss. They'll beat Ole Miss. So I'm gonna say
so that'd be 6-6. Yeah, I don't think they'll beat Arkansas.
I mean, they may not. It wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Arkansas played Kentucky pretty well today. The Arkansas should have won today.
Yeah.
Arkansas plays so up and down, it's insane.
Yeah.
For a team that's so bad, you would think they would at least, try and win every game. But they play so up and down. They'll lose to San Jose State by 24 and then play up to Texas A&M. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't think anything makes much sense in Arkansas right now. So
No.
A new coach, maybe.
Yeah, that makes
he's
sense.
only been there for a year.
Hey.
Only. How long has he been there?
2. This is
Or
second year.
This is a second.
Yeah.
It's been. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a weird hire. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, with Chad Morris.
Yeah.
He
had a losing record at SMU.
Well, the rumors are that they nearly had Gus.
Yeah,
before.
and that's funny.
Man,
now that SMU, I'm pretty sure they're still undefeated. I don't think they played today.
They are. They're
so
6-0.
Funny. Yeah, he left getting just wrecked at SMU to come to Arkansas and lose to to San Jose State and North Texas last year. And man,
just imagine if
rough.
Gus would have gone to Arkansas.
Yeah,
how different everything would be.
They'd be better than they are.
I think they would be better,
a little better
because I think he could have recruited.
Yeah,
I think he would have recruited some offensive talent, but other than that,
I know that Gus has gotten a lot of flack this past week, but Gus is, I think, a good coach. He's not a great coach, but he's better than Chad Morris.
Well, yeah, he's better than Chad
I think
Morris.
they would be
yeah.
better. I just don't think they would have many more wins under their belt. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely not too
think-
many more conference wins.
I think they would have San Jose State, surely, but
Yeah, you'd hope so. Well, we're going to talk about Alabama and Auburn, but before we do that, I think it's time that Knight gives us some questions.
Knight needs to know. Knight needs to know. Probably with some of the stuff you've done before, I probably wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised if I put ashes in cookies and fed them to you?
Yeah, because it was someday for the SEC again. That might make sense then. I guess just
how does
back
that make
during
sense?
that time.
Yeah, I would like to know how it makes sense.
Now this is looking like a bad idea. All right,
What is
y'all ready?
number one on
All right.
Knight needs to know?
Number one, Knight needs to know. Where in the world does Georgia go from here after losing to South Carolina?
Well, first they go home and they cry
probably
themselves to
take a
sleep.
shower. They're probably pretty stinky boys.
They probably need
you
to
know?
take a shower. They probably need to.
Probably need to stay in there and cry a while.
Yeah.
I'd be
Probably
crying
need
a little bit.
to text their girlfriends and make sure they haven't dumped them.
They need to text Justin Fields and say, "Please come back, sweetheart. So sorry."
And then
We'll
they need
play
to
ball.
go to the practice facility and get to work because this team
Then
is.
they need to question
Some of Kirby
Kirby's
Smart's decisions.
Yeah, his coaching in big time moments. Otherwise, I think it's great, but he makes some like calling timeouts at certain times. Like
Oh, he had a terrible timeout today.
He sure
yeah, that's
did.
what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
A very
He
costly
just-
one.
that and some some certain plays he runs, and then after that, yeah, they need to go to that practice facility and actually work like they said they were last year when they're like, we should have got in. We're gonna beat Texas.
Oh, I
We're
hate
gonna work so hard.
I'm so glad
talking about
Texas
it and
whipped
getting
them.
embarrassed again. They probably should go and fix a few things if they want to win the East.
Yeah, really.
Well, they get Kentucky next week, so that should be an easy win as long as they play better than they did today.
I gotta say though, I'm pulling for the
Let's
Big
go
Blue.
Kentucky.
It's just so easy to pull for Kentucky. They're such a likable program, just because they used to be kind of the Vandy of the SEC, and last year they had a nice year. Not this year, but then Georgia gets a bye before they play Florida, and then they have Missouri, travel to Auburn, have Texas A&M, and then go to Georgia Tech to finish out the year. So they still have a pretty difficult schedule ahead.
So if they lose to Kentucky or Florida, I think the rest of their season is donezo. I don't think they're losing to Kentucky, but if they lose to Florida, I think they realize it's over, and then I think Missouri comes in and beats them as well.
I'm going to say
Auburn might
this.
even beat them.
And then I think I've already said this multiple times. I think
Yeah.
Auburn wins that game too.
I think they lose to Florida, they lose to Auburn, and I think there's a good chance they lose to Texas A&M. There's a good
They
chance.
play Texas A&M. Okay, I
There's a
didn't know that.
good chance that this is a 4-loss.
Do they play it
Georgia
in
team.
Kyle Field?
They have Texas A&M at home.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, the way
But, I
Texas
mean-
A&M, I think Georgia would win that one.
I mean, Texas A&M's a better team than South Carolina.
Yeah, they are, but I don't
that's
know.
not saying much now.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget they're going to be beat up by this time. They got Florida, Missouri, Auburn, and then go into Texas A&M.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
so
bye
does
week
Texas
in
A&M,
those
though.
four
Well,
games.
Texas A&M's already beat up.
Yeah, and Texas A&M will be more beat
true.
up at that time too. I mean, that's true. But they get a little bit of a break before Georgia because they get a bye week and then South Carolina and then
All I'm
Georgia.
saying is either Georgia wins out or they end up with 3 losses in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm going to say they end up with at least 3
least.
losses, and that there's a chance that they get 4.
But, I mean, they obviously have the talent to pull it together and win out, so we'll see.
We will see.
All right. My second question. As of right now, what is your prediction for Alabama LSU?
That's a good question because I don't know. I predict a high-scoring shootout, but I think that Alabama will pull away with it. Not pull away with it, but they're going to edge them out. And I think that this will be a game that's probably like around like, I don't know, 52 to 45, something like that. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. Not as high scoring as LSU Texas A&M last year, but
Oh, no.
not going to get in the 70s. Or I don't even think both teams get in the 50s, but I think that Alabama may.
So this is one of those where those three key things is, turnovers, discipline with penalties, and then field position. You just got to play the game like it's supposed to be played because they're both extremely good. So I'm pretty confident Alabama will take care of them. But, yeah, they just... Alabama's got to fix the penalty problem.
Yeah.
And their
And the defense
has to call some turnovers.
Yeah. I think we saw an improved defense today, but I think we're going to need a little bit more improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with y'all. I think Alabama will probably just edge them out. I'd love to see LSU win. I mean, that's just my bias speaking.
Sure.
But there's no way LSU's defense is going to stop Alabama the way they've looked so far this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Alabama's defense will put up more of a fight than LSU's defense will. I don't think that fight will be too much, though. I think if this game was at LSU, that LSU would take it away. But because it is at Alabama, I think Alabama will win it.
All right.
I think I'd be a little worried if it was a Death Valley at 7 o'clock. A little more worried, but I still think Alabama would find a way. I mean, we haven't lost to them since 2011. They're used to playing in the,
Yeah. But that streak
I
isn't
don't
going to
think
last
it'll be-
forever. It's got to happen at
but
some point.
I'm just saying, I don't think the moment would be too big for them. Like, I think they'd be able to handle it.
All right. Last thing I need to know. If we're talking about this, Mississippi State have a losing season. If they have a losing season, do you think they move on with a new coach?
It's possible. I mean, I think it's something that's definitely talked about.
How long has he been there? 1 or 2? 2?
This is his third
is
year,
his
I
second.
think. Or is this his second?
Oh, it's his third?
This might be his third.
Sure.
Mullen's only been gone. This is only Mullen's second year, right? At Florida.
So maybe it is only his second year.
I think so.
Still, he's been on the hot seat a little bit already. And
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they let him go, but it's hard to build a program in 2 years.
It is.
It is. Yeah, and they're on
yeah, so
academic
this
probation.
This is Joe Moorhead's second year, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the UAB's head coach, do you think he'll make his way into an SEC team possibly next year?
I think Bill Clark is going to make his way into a big team. I think that he'd be a good hire for maybe in Arkansas or maybe
Vandy.
Yeah, I think that he's going to get a
Maybe.
big job, whether that's in the SEC or not. I think that's coming, and I think it's coming at the end of this year.
See, I feel like he's going to wait for the right moment. I think he's comfortable where he's at. I think he likes it. He likes the challenge. And I think he doesn't just want to take a big job just for the sake of it being a big job. I think he's waiting for that nice opportunity where he's not just taking over a program in shambles and trying to build something out of it. I think he's going to wait for the right team, the right moment, if that makes sense. Like, he's going to take over like at Auburn, for example, if they just decided to get rid of Gus, I don't necessarily think he would be able to land quite that job, but something along those lines where they have really good seasons, they just haven't been able to put it together lately.
Yeah.
Instead of taking over like a Mississippi State that's going to be 5-7 this year
Yeah.
Sure.
in the SEC West and trying to build a program out of that. I mean, he might, but I just see him waiting his turn because I think he's comfortable where he's at.
Yeah. Well, UAB had another good win today, so against UTSA. So.
And
looking
you got to
good.
think because he's got that brand new stadium coming and everything, and I'm sure that he had some say so in a lot of it.
Oh, he
so,
did. That's been confirmed that he was a
You know,
part
so
of
he's literally building a program there. You know, 'cause from when they shut it down, and I mean, he's got it made.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get a
Right
good
now.
payday.
Yeah, they
If he
pay him
keeps-
pretty well.
Yeah.
But he could. Somebody's going to offer him a whole lot more at some
Oh, yeah.
point. And I think
Oh, yeah.
I think he'll get some offers at the end of this year.
I mean, yeah, when you think what he's done with UAB, it's incredible. So, I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, it's just a matter of time.
it is.
Yes, I don't think it'll be at the end of this year. I think it'll be at the end of next year, but
Yeah,
it's soon.
it's coming.
All right, that is all I need to know.
All right. Well, that was another perfect segment of Night Needs to Know.
You're
and let's
very welcome.
jump. Let's jump into Alabama's win over Texas A&M today.
All right, another beatdown?
Another beatdown. Yeah, not much of a fight put up by the Aggies in the 47-28 loss. Tua had 4 touchdowns, but he also had his first interception of the year.
Hey.
The streak
Which-
ends.
Wasn't
Me and
this
Nick both called?
Yes,
wasn't this
we
his
said-
first interception last year too against A&M?
I'm not sure. I remember it was late in the season, about like this around this time. It may have been.
Yeah.
It's either them or LSU. I think he threw one against.
Yeah,
So
I
he
don't
went
remember who it
21
was.
for 34 for 293 yards. He played
All
the
right.
whole game this week, which is something we haven't seen him do
No.
very often.
Or you know what? It was against Tennessee. That was his first interception last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So Devontae Smith, he had 7 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy had 4 receptions for 50 yards. Jalen Waddle had 3 for 48 yards and a touchdown. Henry Ruggs had 1 for 33 yards and a touchdown. And Najee Harris had 3 receptions for 19 yards and a touchdown. Najee also had a big day rushing, 20 carries, 114 yards. So he ran hard today too. But yeah, I thought this was Najee's best game yet, and he didn't have too many touchdowns, just the one, but he ran incredibly hard today.
Yeah, Alabama finally got the run game going.
Yeah, and that was nice to see it again. Something we haven't seen really at all this year. And
Well, you don't really need
saw
it.
very little last year.
Yeah, I
But,
sure miss it.
As for Kellen Mond, he went 24 for 42, had 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked a little better this week, but he's still
not very
No.
good.
So what were y'all's takeaways of this game?
I've said my piece, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just pretty crazy, our wide receivers. And, you know, they're making it look pretty easy for Tua. And then finally getting the running game going, it's nice to see it. It's beautiful.
So my main takeaway was how much better the offensive line looked this week. That's been one of my main concerns with the team up
Yeah,
until this point.
And that was my concern going into this game, is because the center was out, and I thought they would be blitzing the new center like crazy, but he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he really
Had
did.
a really good game.
They flipped everybody around to compensate for that, and there was multiple players in different positions, but they looked better.
Yeah, I believe Chris Owens. I could be wrong. I believe that was the new center this week, and yeah, he had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, not only that, but the defense looked so much better. They racked up 5 sacks, and had a
I still think
had a
that
really,
would be
really good game. What was
that would be my. I still think that would be my main concern, would be just the defense not being as good as it usually is.
Yeah, and it's
Still not the defensive all. Still giving up 28 points. It's not the Alabama way, but
Yeah,
Well, it
but
doesn't
with
matter because
7 true
Well, when you
freshmen.
when you score 50,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
does it matter?
Yeah, when you score 50, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, forgivable at the very least. But I thought they did look improved all around. I thought the team looked better. Also, Tua passed A.J. McCarron this game for most touchdowns. He tied it the last game
Hey.
and came out on top. He had 4 this week.
Did you see the stat where Tua has 27 touchdowns on the year? Or this was some point during the game. I saw it. They brought it up, like 27 touchdowns on the year. And Joe Namath had like 25 in his career.
Yeah, I think the number was 24 if I remember correctly.
Well, I mean,
That's
what?
crazy.
I mean, Tua's averaging what, 4-something touchdowns a game? I mean,
I know it's a
Probably.
different kind of football, but that's crazy.
It is, and Tua has a lot more tools around him than
Yeah,
Namath did.
it's just crazy how much the game's changed.
Oh, it is.
When you look at those numbers.
It's ridiculous. You used to never see games with such high scores like you do now on just the regular. Even 5 years ago, I mean, you didn't see it as much. Oregon may get it, but definitely didn't see SEC teams scoring like all of them do now.
oh no.
I miss those 3-2 Auburn Mississippi State games, those 9-6 double
9-6
overtime.
LSU.
Alabama LSU. I miss that. That's my kind of
Man,
football, man.
That 3-2 Auburn Mississippi State game, I still remember that game like it was yesterday. That was a classic.
Yeah, man. I loved that was my favorite.
I love
think
the
that's my favorite span of Alabama football is just that the
Shula
dominant
days?
defense. I just loved that defense, man.
I love defense. Yeah.
I do too, and I love running the ball. And I really enjoy watching these high-powered offenses and these exciting, high-scoring games. But there's just something about, and I think that all Alabama and Auburn fans have feel a little the
Run
same way.
the
There's just
ball.
something
when you just
about
run
running the ball.
You're grinding it down their throats, just 3 yards of carry,
And
3
then-
yards, 7 yards of carry, and then you just keep
you
wearing
throw
them
it-
down.
and then you throw it
all of a
deep.
sudden your defense gets 3 touchdowns. It's beautiful. It's
And
so
so-
beautiful. It's
That's
more
a-
exciting when your defense is that good and they score compared to an
Oh,
offense.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I agree with that.
Yeah, see, the thing is, too, when you're able to run the ball and then you can just throw out a play action, throw it deep, I mean, that opens the pass game so much. That's why if Auburn can actually run the ball, that's what opens up their pass game. Just like against Florida, they didn't have a run game, and they knew what was coming.
Yeah. Well, I asked.
Every third down means so much more. Every score means so much more.
Well, we asked this
love it.
question on Facebook. We did a poll. We said, what was your biggest concern for the Crimson Tide going forward? We asked this before the game today. 57% said linebackers, 42% said offensive line. Did y'all agree with that, and do you still after this game?
Yeah, I still do.
I think I do, too.
Just
Just
because
because,
the linebackers are so young.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think that's about right. I think it's close, but...
It made me feel a lot better knowing that the line can actually handle different positions.
Yeah.
Right.
The funny thing is, though, who cares? I mean, it's 5-star linebackers coming in, so you know they're ready to play.
Yeah, but you can't coach experience, as they say.
No, you can't, but it's hard to beat that kind of talent that they have, so...
Well, let's talk a little bit about Texas A&M because this team is now 3-3. Granted, their losses are arguably the 3 best teams around, but still 3-3, and that's not too great.
It's disappointing.
What did this game say to y'all about Texas A&M, if anything?
Their defense
just
isn't
said
very
that
good.
They realized that they're already 3-2, and they're playing Alabama. So
We're 3-3 now.
It's it didn't really tell me that they were overly worse than I thought, better than I thought. It looked like a team that was, has a lot of talent, but they're 3-2 playing Alabama. So I mean,
Yep.
they couldn't expect too much.
I mean,
No,
just
they
all the...
couldn't.
That's gotta suck, to be have that good of a football team and already have 3 losses.
A lot of hype
So
going
that
into them.
schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
Let me pose you this question: do you consider Texas A&M an average program?
Well, as of right now, I mean,
Let me give you some stats to possibly sway you.
all right.
Personally, if like I'm looking at it like if I'm a recruit and I'm pinning schools against each other, I'm looking at Texas A&M to be more of an upper echelon. No, they're not. I wouldn't say they're top 5.
Well, I
top
just
5 picks or anything like that. But when I'm looking at majority, like I'm putting them in the upper tier.
I mean, I would just because of their atmosphere and they have a lot of tradition that they do at A&M. But I mean, what have they really ever done? In the past.
Well, let me tell you this stat. Since joining the SEC, they are 9-19 against top 25 teams within the SEC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
pretty bad.
they haven't done
They are-
anything.
Against Alabama, LSU, and Auburn since just 2012, they're 5-18. Those stats say a lot to me. I mean, I think this is a good.
they
I think
do,
it's a
but
good
you gotta-
program, and I think that yes, I would if I was a kid and I got a scholarship or even a glance by Jimbo Fisher, I'd go nuts. That'd be a great place to play.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think this is the program that people hype it up to be. I think that this is a program that needs a lot of work, and it's going to take some years to get there.
We talked about this earlier. Like somebody said, "Do you think Jimbo will win a national championship at Texas A&M?" And I said, "I don't think he will, just because he's in the SEC West. Like you can't. I don't expect him to surpass being good enough one year to beat Alabama and LSU and Auburn, then go to an SEC championship and beat Florida or Georgia, and then try and get the playoffs. Like that's just.
Yeah.
I mean,
How about this? Do you think
I
he'll
feel like
ever?
if they were in any other conference with any other schedule, it would be you'd look at them so much differently. Like coming into the SEC, and now, granted, your first, they're 9-19. Is that what you said? That's pretty bad.
Right.
That shocked me a little bit. But your second one, when they're like 5-18 against Alabama, LSU, and Auburn, like, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, because look at each one of those teams have been in the national, or they've all been
In the hunt.
I think they've all played for national championships or been extremely close to it since Texas A&M has joined the SEC.
Well, this is
All
since
3 of them.
2012. So LSU not necessarily, but
Auburn 13.
Auburn was, and Alabama.
So both of those have won and been in national championship, and LSU has been.
They were in it. They were in it 1 year before.
That was
in it in
11.
2011.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they've been extremely good. They definitely had a head start, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Sure. Yeah.
But
And
how
now
about
that Jimbo's just now getting there, and they're just I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get. I don't think there's much upside, because, like I said, I don't see them passing an LSU, an Alabama, or an Auburn anytime soon, and that's just because of the past couple of years.
Well, if they don't, and the expectation is not to, which I think the expectation is, how do you justify the $75 million?
You don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think the
here's another
expectation is to, and I don't think they realize that that's likely not going to happen. Now, it could. I mean, he's won a national championship before, and I think he will get one at some point during his tenure.
Even if he was in the East, because you got to think there's already 3 big players in the West, and I don't think East really has that other. I mean, some people say Mizzou because they've won a couple SEC championship when they first got. Maybe I don't consider them to be, that third big team. And everybody in the East knows it's between Georgia and Florida.
Yeah.
So I think even if somebody else was in the East, then it would I think that would do wonders for them.
Do you think
It's just trying to play all three of the top SEC West programs and then having to go to an SEC championship if they get through that.
Yeah.
And then getting through all that without 2 losses and trying to make the college football playoff. Like, I just don't see it happening. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be justified.
Do you think Jimbo will ever win the West? Just the West, not the SEC championship, just the West.
I think he will if he stays longer than Saban. If Saban retires during his tenure, then I think that chance grows exponentially. Long as Saban's there, and as long as you got Orgeron and some other guys there, no, I don't think he wins the West.
I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say necessarily as long as Saban's there because all he has to do is just win one game, which is very doable. If he beats Saban, I think there still has to be. Somebody else has to. As long as all 3 teams, like I said, just it goes back to as long as all 3 teams are still that good, he's not winning the West. That's my take.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Jimbo is overrated, or just?
I think he's a little overrated.
I don't think that he's necessarily overrated because I think anyone outside of Texas A&M realizes what kind of tier coach he is. I think he's just overpaid.
I just think
that's exactly. I would agree with that.
I mean, really, when I think about, he's the QB guru, and I think about the only guy that he's had is Winston, right? I mean, who else has he had?
That's the only one he won a national championship with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had Francois. Did he have Francois?
I think he did.
Yeah, for a year, I believe.
But I mean, it's not like he's done anything.
No, he hasn't. But
So,
I'm saying
I mean,
he was very good, and I think if he had more time with Jimbo, he would have been a very good.
But see,
very
with
good player.
with Mond, we haven't seen any improvement from him, and we were supposed to see improvement. That's where I think
which is surprising to me. It is because I expected a lot from Mond.
I did too, and I think everybody did, and it was really disappointing to not see any improvement. I mean, if anything, it seems like he's kind of gotten worse. He's not a bad quarterback, but he's not this great game-changing guy we thought he was going to be.
That's why I think Fisher's just a little bit overrated. I mean, that's just my opinion, but he's definitely overpaid.
Where do you guys see Texas A&M going from here in regards to the rest of the season? I'll tell you their schedule. So their next game they travel to Ole Miss. Then they host Mississippi State.
Win.
Get UTSA.
Win.
Then they get a bye before South Carolina. Then they go to
South
Georgia.
So they go to Georgia, okay.
And then they go to LSU.
I think 7-5.
Yeah. So they lose Georgia and LSU, win the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they lose to LSU, but I think it depends on what state Georgia's in when they go see Georgia.
I think Georgia would bounce back, and I think they should beat A&M.
But I'm saying if Georgia doesn't bounce back, let's say they meet in Georgia's and they both have 2 or 3 losses. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
And Georgia's going to be beat more so than Texas A&M likely at that point with that 4-game stretch going into it.
Yeah.
Right now, I just see 7-5.
I mean, I could easily see Texas A&M saying, well, we're 3-3 right now and not putting in effort, and then another SEC West team knocks them off, and they lose a game they're not supposed to. But if we're just talking about, I think as long as they take care of business, they just play, I don't see them losing to anybody else but LSU and then possibly Georgia, but definitely LSU. And definitely LSU.
Yeah.
But 7-5 season
about the same way they lost to Alabama today.
Yeah, but if they went 7-5 with all the hype surrounding them this season, I'd say it was very disappointing.
Yeah. I think so, too. I think it's already been a little disappointing. I think that 2 losses were expected, but I think they were expected to be Auburn And
Yeah,
I think
I
they were
agree.
expected to be in these games better than they have been because they did not have a chance against Clemson, Auburn, or Alabama. I mean, they were never in any of those games.
And that's the surprising thing.
Yeah, that's the most sickening thing to me. I don't have any problem with those having those L's on your record because I think all three of those teams are better. But the fact that they didn't put up a fight is disappointing.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for Alabama versus Tennessee next week? Alabama will get its first night game at the stadium to show off those lights they've been teasing for a while.
All right. This is a bold prediction.
Okay.
I'm going 58-7.
I don't know if that's that bold.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Man, the first night game, being in Bryant Denny, seeing those lights, it's a big
gonna be
rivalry
packed.
game. And those kids are going to get fired up.
Yeah.
I don't see it being real close.
No, I don't either. I think it's going to get ugly really fast.
It'll be over after the first quarter. How would we just say
I
that?
think we're all going to have a fat cigar after.
And Justin will be with us next
Probably
week.
during.
Yeah,
You're
so
live
hopefully,
instead of
No,
calling in.
this is-
So.
yeah, so hopefully I'll have one after a win against Arkansas. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Auburn. So we did a Facebook poll with Auburn too, and we said this earlier in the week. Hey, Auburn fans, who do you want starting against Arkansas? Bo Nix or Joey Gatewood?
Definitely Bo Nix.
74% agree. They say Bo Nix, and then just 26% saying
Which is really
Joey
funny
Gatewood.
to me because the week that Bo Nix didn't do great, you saw all these people on Twitter saying, "Why is Joey Gatewood not in?" So like they're
I
all
think
like bench
my-
Nix, and it's so. Funny
My
to
only
me.
problem is why isn't Auburn using Gatewood more on third downs, third and short?
Yeah,
That's the
don't
only problem I
understand
have.
that,
Well, I think that we're going to be seeing more of that now that Boobie Whitlow is unfortunately injured and
yeah.
out for a month plus.
Which is killer. For
Which
any
is
chances we had against LSU.
And I hate it for him also because it's going to hurt his stats and his draft stock and whatnot. But yeah, that's really going to hurt. And I think that Auburn needs that running game, and I think Joey Gatewood is the only person that can provide it. And I think we're going to see a lot more of him. He's not going to be starting or anything, but I think we'll be seeing some new packages, especially with him coming off a bye week.
Yeah. I mean, Bo Nix is a good runner. He's kind of underestimated as a runner. They just kind of have more plays in there, and he's making the right reads. That's when the offense will really start working. We have to have a running quarterback, a mobile dual threat. That's the only way this offense is going to work.
Yeah,
when the
that's
defenders
the
don't
offensive
know.
system that Gus has installed is definitely centered around a Cam Newton-esque running back. I mean, that's what you want, but you can't. That's a once in a lifetime player. So you got, but you have to have somebody that can run and throw.
And that's why I mean, the best offenses look with Cam Newton, and then when Nick Marshall was there in 13 and 14.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a guy like that. And that's why I think if they start kind of implementing more with Bo, because Bo is going to be a much better passer than Marshall ever was. So I just give him time. I mean, I understand last week because, a lot of these freshman quarterbacks are trying to do everything they can because that's what he did at Pinson Valley. He was doing everything. Right. So I think this was a good bye week. Arkansas should be a good bounce back fix week, getting ready for LSU. I don't feel good about LSU because I don't feel good about our secondary. I feel like Joe Burrow and LSU is just going to torch us. I love our front and our linebackers, so hopefully we can get a good pass rush. But I'm worried about the offense keeping up with LSU.
Well, what did this LSU Florida game tell you about Auburn and about LSU coming to town?
Or Auburn coming to town?
Yeah, Auburn going to LSU.
Gosh. It's just LSU's offense is really good because Florida has a solid defense. And we saw that playing against Auburn last week. And LSU played great against them. So, like I said, I'm worried. This LSU offense is probably the best they've ever had.
Yeah.
Or it is is the best it's ever been.
This is the troubling Go ahead.
I
Aaron.
like LSU a lot over Auburn right now.
A lot. I agree too.
I think the only way Auburn really
Defensive touchdowns.
makes it is that D-line has to show out.
Turnovers.
And
Like that.
Bo
Yeah.
Nix has to have a game. He has to play smart and have a game. They have to utilize Joey Gatewood. Bo
Schwartz.
Nix has to play smart.
We
and
have
that
to get the ball to
D-line has
Schwartz.
to show out.
Yeah. Which,
This
I mean.
is what. Oh, go ahead,
You
sorry.
go. I was just saying, I mean, the D line, if they did what they did against Florida, we'll definitely have a good chance to win. It's just the offense showing up to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the offense is what scares me about this game because Auburn struggled to put up 13 points on Florida.
Struggled.
And LSU easily put up the 42 on them.
Yeah.
And I know
and
that they're going to be playing against a much harder defense when they face off against Auburn.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that because defense travels. And
Yeah.
so with how easy it was for LSU, yeah, that's doesn't make me feel good.
right, sure. So Auburn is going to have Arkansas next week. That should be a good bounce back game, getting you ready for LSU coming, or for them traveling to LSU
Yeah.
October 26th, that next week. I can't wait for that game though. I think it's going to be a good game, a really intriguing one.
I hope so.
What do you outside of the obvious, Bo Nix maybe making better decisions? What do you want to see Auburn improve with over this bye week?
Hopefully the O-line improving with the run game because we had absolutely no run game against Florida. We had one good drive where Booby was finally starting to get something going, and then I'm pretty sure we turned it over in the red zone. That was the pick in the end zone. So we have to get the run game going. I'm hoping we see. I mean, Cam Martin's a good back. He's been overshadowed by Carry-On and now Booby. So I mean, he just hasn't had that good playing time, and so we'll see a lot of him and Shivers and probably some of the young guys too. So I really just hope to see a lot from the run game and maybe a little improvement from our secondary because this is probably the best tackling secondary we've had, but there's a couple of guys like Igbenogamy and Davis who can't cover the save their lives. So that's what worries me. They're just going to target them the whole game.
Well, I'm going to go through the list, and you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 on each of these games how confident you are.
Oh, man. So, okay, so 10 being really confident, 1 being not at all. Okay.
1 being a definite L.
Okay.
Okay, Arkansas.
9.
Okay. LSU.
2.
Oh, that low.
It's pretty low. The confidence is low.
Highs and lows, baby.
I was
You got
expecting a 4.
Good start there.
Maybe a 5, not a 2.
Well, how we looked against Florida, it's definitely at a 2.
Ole Miss.
That's another 9.
Georgia.
At this point, after watching Georgia today, I'd say 7.
Okay, that's pretty high.
Yeah, I think with how Georgia looked today, that's probably our best chance
Yeah.
to beat Georgia, and we're at home.
Samford.
10.
Alabama.
Let's go 3.
3. Okay.
Because I don't see us stopping the Alabama wide receivers. There's no way. And we're not going to outscore y'all, so. But we're at home, so maybe I'll bump it up to a 4. We're at home. I'll bump it up to a 4.
All right. Aaron, I'll do the same thing to you with Alabama.
All right.
Should be a 10 for everything.
Tennessee.
Oh, 10.
I'm going to go with a 9.
Oh, come on. That's got to be a 10.
Arkansas.
That's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LSU.
I'm going to go with a 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mississippi State.
Probably a 10. That's the way they look today.
Yeah.
Western Carolina.
9.
Why?
Because, hey, I'm going. Alabama plays down every once in a while to those nobodies.
Yeah, but they don't lose
they
to them.
do.
Yeah, they really played down to New Mexico State, didn't they?
I'm saying every once in a while, like
Every
Georgia
once in a while.
Southern just come in and just, they really embarrass us sometimes. So that's why I'm going with a 9.
Yeah, they
Okay.
actually scored. They scored touchdowns, so they embarrassed y'all.
What about Auburn?
Georgia's. I'm going with. Let's see. Booby will be back by then.
We'll be back.
I'm probably going with a 6 or 7.
Okay, so about the same as LSU.
6.5.
Okay.
Slightly
Yeah, because that's
more.
what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Okay.
slightly more confident than LSU, but that's as of right now.
Well, is there anything else on this topic you want to add before we move on to mismanagers?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's time for some mismanagers.
Some good stories. Yeah.
All right, well, let's see if I can deliver.
Did you grab anything when you walked out the door?
Grabbed nothing but 2 Tortino's pizza out of the refrigerator and my doggy, and we left.
I just kept hearing it. I'm ducking and everything. God, in the house, I got scared. I dropped my hot pocket.
Here's an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
And now, it's time for mismanagers.
Okay. All right, so story number 1. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Born ready.
This one is on NBC News. Bear downs 36 beers, passes out at campground.
Wait, a bear?
A bear.
How many did you say?
36 beers.
36.
So, yeah, about 10 less than I drink in the mornings.
You might need to edit that out.
When State Fish and Wildlife agents recently found a black bear passed out on the lawn of Baker Lake Resort, there were some clues scattered nearby. Dozens of empty cans of Rainier beer.
Can you imagine just watching this bear down some beers? I mean, he's just going one after the other. What was he drinking? What was he drinking?
I know he
Rainier.
has huge paws and everything.
Okay.
But I'm wondering how it gripped the glass to.
Yeah, really, because those are some
chug
sharp
it.
claws.
I guess he would have had to hold it with both hands, and
The bear apparently got into campers' coolers and used his claws and teeth to puncture the cans, and not just any cans. So the first thing I think about when reading this is Yeti is going to love this, the cooler company, because all their junk is bear proof. That's why they sell it for hundreds of dollars. They're going to be like, oh yeah, well if you don't buy our $400 cooler, your $20 beer's going to get taken.
Well, I guess
first
Yeti's
story in 20 years about a bear or ever. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
About a
Yeti's
bear
never going to
getting
sponsor
into-
us after
getting
that.
drunk.
Yeah. He drank the Rainier and wouldn't drink the Bush beer, said Lisa Broxton, brookkeeper
Do you
at
blame
the
him?
campground. No, I don't. That's my
No,
favorite
what do you
beer. It's Bush
mean?
Light.
You don't like the Bush lattes, man?
Yeah, good old Bush
No.
Light. I got one right
Not
here
really.
sitting with me.
Well, I know I saw that.
Fish and Wildlife Enforcement Sergeant Bill Hink, I don't know, said the bear did try one can of Bush, but ignored the rest. The beast then consumed about 36 cans of Rainier.
Jeez.
A wildlife agent tried to chase the bear from the campground, but the animal just climbed a tree to sleep it off for another
So how
4
many-
hours.
I wonder how many ounces we talking here for 36.
Well, I
mean,
can do the math real quick.
I mean, it's a big old bear, though.
A
Yeah,
normal
so
can is
yeah.
12 ounces.
12 ounces? Okay.
So 12 times 36.
Yeah. So we're looking like in
Lot
the
of beer.
400 area.
432 ounces.
Hey, what would hold on. Does it say how big the bear was?
Yeah, how much did it weigh? No, we're talking a black bear, so pretty good size, right?
I don't know. I'll keep reading and we'll see. Agents then used a large humane trap to capture it for relocation, baiting the trap with the usual donuts, honey, and in this case, 2 open cans of reindeer. So they baited it with more beer. That did the trick. This is a new one on me, Hank said. I've known them to get into cans, but nothing like this, and it definitely had a preference. Yeah, so it doesn't say how big the bear was. It doesn't have a picture or anything, but even if it's just a standard, average black bear, it's
I'm gonna figure this out, even if we have to go to the next story.
Okay. Yeah, you keep looking it up, and we'll keep going. But my question to you is there anything you love enough to eat or drink 36 of?
Yes.
Probably brownies. Brownies.
Brownies?
Yeah.
To eat or drink of?
Yeah.
Yes. We don't have that long.
We'll just name something.
I mean, brownies, cookies, chocolate, ice cream.
Is there a beer you like enough to drink 36 of?
No.
No.
Maybe a.
It's a firm no.
Yeah.
I like the Busch lattes, but I ain't drinking 36.
I mean, I just like the sissy stuff. So
yeah.
I mean,
like
actually,
a Mike Hart.
I take that back. By the time I get through even attempting to drink half, I'm gonna be feeling pretty good. I'm gonna be locking them, so I might get to 36. But that's the only situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Aaron's dead on the side of the highway after that.
Yeah, but we'd be here all night if we're talking about just stuff I like to eat that much.
Well, here's something. Here's a story.
Grapico, man.
Here's a story that might kill your appetite.
Awesome.
This one is by people.com. English bride decorates her wedding nails with a late father's ashes.
Oh, man. What's up with these stories with the ashes, man?
I don't know.
I looked up average black bear weight, and it gave me a male anywhere from 130 to a 660.
That's a wide
range. What kind of
range.
range is that? That's not an average.
Well, if he's consuming 36 beers, we got a 600-pounder.
All right, I'll do the max weight then.
One English bride just put a meaningful twist on the tradition of wearing something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Staffordshire native Charlotte Walton found a way to incorporate her late father's ashes into her wedding nails, as seen in a YouTube tutorial posted by her cousin. The nails were made with love, Meekin wrote in the description box alongside her video. I created these wedding nails for my cousin Charlotte. Her father, my Uncle Nick, sadly passed away at the end of April this year. He was an absolute legend, patient, kind, and loved by so many. It was so sad that he couldn't be there to walk his daughter down the aisle on her big day. In the clip, Meekin gave her cousin a classic French ombre manicure, and then applied the ashes to a wet acrylic base and added small flecks of silver glitter to Walton's long, stiletto-shaped middle finger. She recently lost her dad, my Uncle Mick Meekin, who titled the tutorial The Memory Nails, says in a voiceover. We wanted to do something really special, so I had the idea of using my uncle's ashes inside the nails.
Wait, hold on. I kind of blanked. I was
okay,
filling this
so
out.
Instead of just
Someone
having
put ashes in their nails.
Yeah, so for her wedding, her dad had passed, and so they took his ashes.
I thought it was her uncle.
It was the YouTuber's uncle, the bride's father.
Gotcha.
And they incorporated his ashes into her nail paint.
All right.
Fine. You couldn't think of anything better?
Yeah, why can't you just have the
ash nail polish?
Why can't you just have the ashes there? Like it's what makes you think of I'm just going to put them on my nails?
Just set the urn or whatever it's called in the seat next to your mom or
really
terms someone else, literally
anyone. And then you just empty them wherever you decide to.
They should have had like a flower girl throwing it out.
That's enough.
Like flowers.
That's enough.
Just throwing it on everybody there. Take some ashes. Take some ashes,
man.
So
that would be more respectful than just putting me in nail polish and nobody knowing, but you telling everybody like, "Hey, I mixed my father's ashes with nail polish."
That's a really
what a great way to be remembered.
Yeah, it's also like it's just so odd. Like I get everybody grieves in their own way, but that is odd.
Very odd.
So I don't think it's too outrageous to say it would be. Well, okay, it would be a little worse, but it
would be a little worse.
It would be a little worse, but I mean, yeah. Anyways, I'm just saying, there's more creative ideas out there, like getting the little flower girl.
Yeah, so throwing all the ashes on
you see
everybody.
how quick that was? I came up with that like 2 seconds, and all this girl can think of is fingernail polish.
Well, this story brings me to this question. When you die, what ridiculous way would you like to be sent out?
Just like a scenario in which I die, or
no, not how you will die. After you die, how do you want to be sent out? Like you want to be rocketed to the moon? What do you want to do?
What?
Are you like? Are we talking about a body here? Or are we talking about ashes?
Either.
Well, if we're talking body, I just kind of want to be thrown in the ocean.
Your body thrown in the ocean? Tore up by sharks?
No, it'll be in a casket. Just dump me in the ocean.
Okay. Polluter? Trying to kill the earth?
Well, I mean, I'm dead, so why is it matter at this point?
Just make sure it's a casket made of really hard plastic, just painted with lead-based paint. That's what Justin wants.
It'll just have a bunch of oil on it and everything, just floating around. Oh man.
Okay, well, buried at sea. What about you, Aaron?
Oh, man, there's so many ways I could be utilized after death.
Actually, you know what? How about sent to?
It's a weird thing to say.
That is a weird. How about sent to Mars?
What is the Mars? The first corpse on Mars?
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, he was talking about being sent, like, in the casket down under the ocean. Like, what if they like, I don't know, some wrecked ship and you put me down there and, you know.
That'd be cool.
Somebody comes along and like, oh my gosh, I found a skeleton. You know, I don't know. There's just so many different ways. It would be mainly whatever it would be pranking somebody in some way. That's all I can really clarify there. Maybe like, you know, I'm trying to think of things I can say.
How do you struggle with this?
It's just because there's so many ways, man. There's so many ways to get creative with this.
Well,
if it's near Halloween, I could get somebody to, use me in a haunted house. Like you walk into this room and it's real dark.
And your 5-day-old corpse is just
red light comes on, and my body's swinging from a ceiling fan.
That's so bad.
There's so many different ways.
And you've only been dead for like a couple of days.
Rocketing to the moon, I could just get put on a plane and then fly over the middle of the United States over a big city and just let me out.
And you're not even in a casket. They just drop you off.
Could you imagine being in your front driveway, you're like playing basketball with your son, and you just boom. You see why I'm struggling? There's so many ways, man.
There's just this huge splat that happens right next to you.
Okay.
Man.
Well, I have a story. My final story ties into this question.
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, I want to point out nothing to do with the last one. It goes back to the first one. So if you were a male, this is obviously made for humans, but I don't think it differ that much. If you're a male human that weighs 600 pounds and you drank 36 beers, and I didn't know how fast he drank the beers, so I did it you said something about 4 hours, so I put in 4 hours. Your blood alcohol content is 0.25%.
Oh my gosh.
And it will take you 17 hours to get to zero.
That I believe that's less than the in our first mismanager story, the lady that got pulled over twice.
Jeez.
I think her blood alcohol content was more than that. I could be wrong.
Yeah, which is insane, but you also got to think this is a 600-pound bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
So
36.
imagine if a person did that. So let me just change the numbers real quick.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a 200-pound woman, 36 beers. Well, a 200-pound man, it's 0.87%.
So you're pretty much dead.
If you drink 36 beers in 4 hours. So yeah, you're a goner.
You're dead.
It takes you over 2 days to get to 0%. It takes 58 hours. So anyways, I just had to point that out.
Well, that was some good analysis. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. If anybody is looking for a creative way to go out, let's just brainstorm and just hit me up. I charge fairly if I get the opportunity. So, all right. Now that that's out of the way, let's move into the last story before I get kicked off the podcast.
Okay, so I know that every week I say that I found the weirdest story yet. I don't think I'll top this one again. This is the peak of mismanagers. It's all downhill from here because I will never find another headline as confusing and just interesting as this one. And I guarantee y'all are going to have to ask me at least one more time to repeat it. Before I read this, I want to say this is a true story. This one is from the Daily Mail, but I found articles by People.com and other highly regarded news stations that reported on this. And let me just say, I really didn't believe it at first, but it's true.
So this is credible.
This is credible.
All right.
Are you ready?
This better be good.
I'm just going to read you the headline. The headline is really long. Okay, here we go. Man who donated his mother's body to an Arizona Center for Alzheimer's Research discovers it was sold to the U.S. military for $6,000, strapped to a chair, and blown up in blast testing.
To what?
Need me to read that again?
Please go for it.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm just cracking up over it right now.
Okay, pay attention now. Man,
I'm a good person too, so I'm.
Justin, I think we said this last week. If you say you're a good person, good people don't do that. Good people don't feel the need to say they're a good person. It's like how crazy people will constantly try to convince you they're not crazy.
I'm not crazy, man.
I'm a great person.
Okay, reading this again. Man who donated his mother's body to an Arizona Center for Alzheimer's Research discovers it was sold to the U.S. military for just $6,000, strapped to a chair, and blown up in a blast test.
Can you imagine finding out?
Everything I said before, forget it. This is how I want to go out.
First of all, I want to know how this man discovered this happened.
Yeah, that's my mom's body.
How did he find out about this? I mean, I guess we'll find out when I read it. But
can you imagine someone telling you, "Hey, sorry to inform you, but we actually sent your mother's body to the military, and they blew it to pieces, man. There's nothing left of her."
But don't worry, we got $6,000 of it, but you're not going to see a penny of that.
You're not getting any of it.
Yeah, why couldn't he just do that? Why couldn't he sell it?
Oh, gosh.
An Arizona man has spoken out about the heartbreak he endured when learning that the body of his mother, which he donated to a medical research center, was sold off to the military and blown up in a blast testing experiment. Doris Stauffer, 73, died 5 years ago in hospice care following a several-year battle with Alzheimer's, despite doctors saying she didn't carry the gene for the disease. Medical officials feared the condition may have mutated and hoped to study her brain after her death to further investigate. So pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
It's something they don't really understand.
So then why in the world... Well, I guess money talks.
They finished their research. They were like, what else am I going to do with her?
Yeah, I guess.
However, when she died in 2014, her neurologist was unable to accept her remains, so her son, Jim, reached out to a number of donation facilities who he hoped would continue the investigation. Finally, he settled on the Biological Research Center in Maricopa, Maricopa County following a recommendation from a nurse under the agreement that the company, led by Stephen Gore, would send her brain to a neurological research group. So this guy, he's just, he's heartbroken and he wants to help others that are struggling with this by, letting them study his mother.
Yeah, this is great.
Let's not get that twisted. This is we're sitting here laughing, but it's pretty disturbing.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty. But on the other hand, what in the world is going on?
I feel foolish, Jim Stauffer told Fox 6, learning the true fate of his mother's remains. Because I'm not a trusting person, but in this situation, you have no idea this is going on. You trust. I think that trust is what they fed on. Jim recalled how an official from BRC came to pick up his mother's remains within 45 minutes of her death. There, he said he signed an agreement with the official in which they detailed that would and would not happen to Doris' remains. Several days later, he received a wooden box that contained the majority of his mother's ashes. However, no information was provided about how Doris's body was used or where the rest of her remains were. Another 3 years would pass.
I thought the whole point was to study her brain.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, it was, and apparently he thought that's what happened. He thought that was.
Were they just using the brain and then that's it?
Yeah, that was basically all
they.
Yeah, that's all they needed was the brain.
Yeah.
Another 3 years.
Tell that much after, like.
Yeah, because. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that stuff works.
I thought you'd still have to be active to see. I don't know.
Well, they can just kind of see. I guess they can just see how the brain might have deteriorated over time due to the disease. I don't know.
Another 3 years would pass before he learned what really happened to his mother when a reporter from Reuters sent him a series of documents. The records showed that that BRC workers detached one of Doris Stauffer's hands for cremation. After sending those ashes back to her son, the company sold and shipped the rest of Stauffer's body, including her brain, to a taxpayer-funded research blast testing project for the U.S. Army.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
So they can't really messed up.
But why do they need Why do they need a real body for?
Yeah, why can't they use? Yeah.
Doris's cadaver was then strapped into a chair on some sort of apparatus, and an explosive device was detonated beneath her. The idea of the experiments was to get an idea of what the human body goes through when a vehicle is hit by an IED, the documents entailed.
Huh.
There was actually wording on this paperwork about performing this stuff, Jim said, performing these medical tests that may involve explosions, and we said no. We checked the no box on all that. BRC and medical records show that at least 20 other bodies were also used in the blast experiments without permission of the donors or their relatives. The donated bodies were all sold to the military for just $5,893 each. Officials of the project said they never received the consent forms from the donors or their families that along with the cadavers. Instead, they were forced to rely on the assurances of BRC that the families or donors had all agreed to be used in the specific type of research. Jim says he still struggles with the reality of the grisly end his mother's remains met, adding that his memory of her are regularly plagued with visions of the experiment.
I don't even know how. So, do they even really do much research on her brain?
They did none. They just blew it up.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, and the article goes on and on and on, and it's actually really interesting.
So, pretty much money talks. That we're pretty much getting at here.
I guess $6,000.
Yeah, well,
really
they're going to be talking a lot more than $6,000.
Yeah,
after they get sued. Yeah,
and as it goes on, that's there's some people that have already sued them for this when they've had to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you can go on and read it for yourself. This article is by the DailyMail.com, and it's actually really detailed. But yeah,
okay.
Now,
but when I read that headline for the first time,
always good to end on a bad note. You know what I'm saying?
I thought, what did I just read?
Oh my gosh!
It's so long. There's so much information in it, and it's just it grabs your attention. It's for sure.
Jeez, man. So now that just makes me doubt about anything like that. Like, what are they going to do with my body if I'm like, hey, you can donate to research? They're just going to blow me up.
Yeah, you're going to try to be sent to Mars, and they're just going to light you on fire and
throw
tomatoes at you.
Let's see what a body goes through when a rocket ship explodes.
Let's see what the body goes through when we shoot it with a lot of paintballs and then and set it on fire.
Gosh. I mean, I guess that's important research for the military, just to see how they can treat those certain injuries.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, of course you're not, whoever the company was for the Alzheimer's, golly, and just to do that and not actually do the research, I hope they do get sued.
Yeah, well, it's apparently starting already, but yeah, they need to get sued for all they're worth, in my opinion. But
because that's some good research they could have done to see what's some better treatments we can do. And instead,
and it was a problem that, like, they didn't know how this happened. Like, she didn't have
because it wasn't genetic.
But just a waste.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't want to end the podcast on such a negative note, we have all taken some time to write out what we believe the top 10 should be. Not what we think it's going to be, but what we think it should be following this week. Yeah, so, Justin, do you want to start us off?
All right, let's do it. Here we go.
How about we we'll each name our number one, then we'll each name our number two.
Or do y'all want to go? Or how about we go 10 to 1?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start with number 10 is Notre Dame.
Interesting. What is your reasoning for that?
I think the rest of the teams I have ahead of them are better. I think
that's a good one. It's always a good reason to rank them lower.
Yeah.
It's a good reason, man.
Okay.
I did like how Notre Dame played against Georgia, but with how Georgia lost today, I mean, does that really mean much?
Sure.
They struggled with USC today. Not very. I mean, USC's had a couple good wins, but they've had some bad losses.
Yeah.
So I like them at 10.
That's fair enough. Aaron, who you got?
Okay, so I actually made 3 different lists.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason is because there's one where what I think it's going to be and what I think it should be. And then we're just going to forget that other one. Because it gets really deep. So anyways, I'm just going to stick to what I think it should be. Like, if I was in charge of ranking teams, this is what I would, mainly based off of their previous schedule and not the eye test. Because, in my opinion, there's so many teams that look so good when you don't play people, and you don't know until they do.
Ohio State.
It's just... yeah. But, also, with that being said... There's also Bama, so I can't really say much.
That's true. That's very true.
Realistic here.
I'm glad you noticed that.
Realistic. So this is just what I would do. I just want to preference that.
Okay.
So I guess if I have to go number 10.
Didn't think it'd take you this long.
Second thoughts.
Oh my gosh, this is the number 10 team. Shouldn't take you this long. Holy cow.
Wait, what?
He said just get on with it.
My gosh.
So, all right. Okay. All right. I'm going to go with... Actually, hold on.
Oh, my goodness.
Nick, go
Nick, go.
Georgia. Is that easy?
Okay.
I got Georgia at 10. They lost today. I don't think they're better than the other teams I have ahead of them. I feel confident.
So you have Notre Dame ahead of them?
I do.
Wow, okay.
That doesn't make much sense now I think about it.
No, it does not.
So let me switch that. I'm going to put Notre Dame at 10, Georgia at 9.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay. Would you like to say your number 10 pick now? Or are you still trying to play with yourself and figure it out?
I think I have to go... I think I got to go with Auburn.
Wow, okay. All right.
That's my number 10.
Why?
See, it doesn't make much sense if we're going backwards.
Oh,
I don't know how to explain it.
All right, move on. No.
All right. Number 9 for you, Justin.
Penn State.
Penn State.
Yes.
They had another win this today. They are undefeated
Good win against
so far.
Iowa. Undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have. Now, do they play Ohio State? Are they at home?
I don't know, but I can look and see.
I think that'll be an interesting game. Let's just say that.
Let's see. Aaron, go ahead and name yours while I look that up.
That's what I was doing. Okay. My number 9 is Georgia.
Why is that?
Because I believe they are the 9th best team on this on this thing.
Great reason.
Penn State is at Ohio State, by the way.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Aaron, you started a sentence, then you just stopped it.
Oh,
Yeah.
did I? I am so sorry.
I don't know what was going on there. It was
I'm
so
a little
silent.
distracted. I'm trying to look this up.
I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on.
Hold on. I will be back with you in a moment. Yo.
All right. Anyways, I said my number 9 team was Georgia. So.
All right.
Sticking
Well,
with
I'll go ahead and say.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm back. Sorry. So I got that wrong, and that's what I don't know why I did that, but my number 10 is actually Georgia, and my number 9 is Auburn. I am so sorry I messed that up. That's what was confusing me. I was like, why did I do it that way? But anyways, all right, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Number 8, just.
All right, number 8 is Georgia.
Interesting. So they only fall from 3 to 8.
3 to 8. I think they're still better than they're still a better team than Penn State and Notre Dame.
Sure.
So I like them at 8.
Okay. Aaron?
Who was your number 8, Nick?
My number 8 is also Georgia. They're with Aaron. With Justin. I think that they're. Oh, I'm sorry. My number 8 is Auburn. I think they are better than Georgia, better than Notre Dame, but maybe not. But they lost to Florida, so I've got them behind them and a few others. So, but yeah, I've got Auburn number 8.
Okay, so yeah, just to be clear, because my number 10 is Georgia, my number 9 is Auburn, and my number 8 is Florida.
Okay.
Sure.
Because those are all, I put all the one-loss teams at 8, 9, and 10 that I think deserve to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
And in that order, because I still think Auburn's going to beat Georgia, and I still think Florida's going to beat. I think Georgia's going to beat Auburn, and I think Florida's going to beat. Whatever, I'm confusing myself now. Anyways, my 8's Florida. Go ahead.
Well, we need to start kind of flying through these because we are running pretty late on the show already.
Pretty late.
Yeah, this is a pretty long one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
My number 7 is Florida. They don't change. They played a great LSU team today. I think they're still really good. They stay at 7.
Aaron?
My 7 is Clemson. And that's just because...
That is controversial right there. The defending national champion.
I told y'all I was going to be real. They haven't played anybody. I mean, I guess Texas A&M.
They played A&M.
I mean, okay.
Heck, they played Florida State today. What are you talking about?
Okay, everybody calm down. So this is just I know it's not ever going to be this. This is just if I was ranking it and I had the best teams that look the most impressive right now with the most impressive resume and then just chopping them down as they go. As you get a loss, you drop.
What's funny is I remember you saying last week Clemson shouldn't have dropped from 1 to 2.
No, I still don't think they should if the way they run, the way college football runs their poll right now, they shouldn't drop. But I'm saying this, if it was all up to me,
this is your power rankings.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're saying that Clemson is the worst undefeated team?
Yes, just because they don't have the schedule to back it up. They don't have the wins to back it up.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nick,
I've got Florida, like you, Justin.
All right. Yeah.
I don't move them down, and I think they played a good game today, and I think they're improving, and I think they're going to keep getting better. So I'm going to leave them right there at 7.
All right. Number 6. I think this is kind of one of the underrated teams that's looked really good this year. Wisconsin.
Yeah, they have, and they're undefeated.
And they
obviously.
shut out. I mean, they've shut out 3 teams this year. They shut out Michigan State today. The defense is something else.
Yeah, their defense. Aaron had a stat about their defense. I believe it was that they've scored more points than they've allowed. Is that right?
Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yes, they have allowed 4 touchdowns, and their defense has scored 4 touchdowns.
Oh,
That's
my
insane.
gosh. That's incredible.
Pretty crazy. All right, so we're at number 6.
Yes.
All right, my number 6 is Ohio State.
Okay.
Another pretty controversial one.
Just because they don't have the resume yet. Do I think
agree.
they'll get it? Probably. They just don't have it quite yet. But they have a better one than Clemson, in my opinion.
I'm going to be interested to see how you justify where you put Alabama.
Stay tuned.
We'll get to that. I also have Wisconsin at number 6 for the exact same reasons that you said, Justin. I think that they are a good team, and this is the first week that I've just really noticed them. Mainly thanks to Aaron, because he really pointed out, like, hey, this Wisconsin team looks pretty legit, and I think he was right. So, I got them right there at number 6.
All right, number 5, just right ahead of you, Aaron, Ohio State. I agree. They haven't really played anybody, but I think they're still a pretty solid team, so I like them at 5.
Okay, my number 5 is Bama.
Okay. So you
the
did
reason
knock
I
them
put
down.
them as in front of Ohio State
What the
is
heck are you
because
doing?
they have played Texas A&M, and that's about as many ranked teams as Ohio State played. And I would never put Ohio State in front of Alabama just because I'm not a big fan of Ohio State, and I can't do that, even though I am being real. So that's about right for me. Is at number 5 for Alabama, just because of the schedule thing.
Well, for me, I have Oklahoma at number 5.
Okay.
I think that they are one of the best teams in the nation, and they've proved it with their scheduling so far. And yeah, they had a very good win over Texas today, so I think they should be right there at number 5.
All right, number 4, I've got Oklahoma. I think they've got better win than Ohio State does with beating Texas today. I think they have probably the top 3 best offenses in the country. Their defense is probably the best it's been in a long time. I think Oklahoma could be a scary team in the playoffs.
Yep.
I have Oklahoma at number 4 as well because of that win. I believe they go ahead of Bama just because of the strength of schedule. They're still undefeated, and they do look good. Their defense is much improved, and that goes a long way with them. So, yep.
Well, at number 4, I've got Ohio State, and the reason I have them above Oklahoma is because I think this team is angry, and I think they are they've been counted out a little bit ever since Urban has left. They aren't expected to reach the college football playoff, especially at the beginning of the year, and I think they want to prove everybody wrong. So I think they're going to beat down Michigan later in the year, and I think they have a good chance of making the playoffs. So I'm going to put them right there at number 4.
All right, this has just been a late change to number 3, but I have Clemson at number 3. I still think they're the reigning national champions. They have a great defense. Trevor Lawrence, I think, will get it going as the season keeps going. They're going to win the ACC easily, and I think I don't know really what to say about Clemson with how they've looked so far this season. I don't know if they'll make it to the national championship with how some of these other teams have been looking, but they'll be there in the semifinal.
Yeah.
All right, so number 3, I have Penn State.
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
This is just because
they barely beat
their
Pitt.
strength of schedule.
Strength of schedule. I'm about to tell you their strength of schedule.
They played
79
Iowa.
to 7.
Not there for the rest of the season. I'm talking about just who they've played, and
they've played Iowa.
Okay, I'm about to tell you who they played.
Iowa's
they
pretty
beat
good.
Idaho 79 to 7. They beat Buffalo.
79.
Buffalo 45 to 13. Pittsburgh.
Buffalo's pretty good.
17 to 10.
They barely beat Pittsburgh.
Maryland
Okay.
59 to 0. Good shutout. Purdue 35-7, and then Iowa today 17-12. You have
You just
them as
lost.
the third best team in the country.
You
I
lost
do
all.
not think. No, if I'm thinking how it will end up, no, I don't think it will. But I think right now they deserve to be
Oh,
ranked
my gosh.
3 until proven otherwise.
You just lost all
It's like
credibility.
innocent until proven guilty. They're the third best ranked team based on their strength of schedule,
Which is not very
and-
good.
Okay, okay, and their wins, and until proven otherwise.
I thought you were kind of
And
a
do
smart.
I think they'll get proven otherwise? Absolutely.
I think
just
they
wanna
get
point
proven
that out.
otherwise next week against Michigan.
I don't think that's the take because I think, or at least I hope not. I hope they beat Michigan into the ground. But
I thought you were a smart guy, but never in my life would I've pictured Penn State in the top 3.
hey, I told you I was being real, man.
All right. Well, I'm being real, putting Clemson in the number 3, along with you, Justin.
Yeah, we have similar mindsets. Thank you.
I think our last 3 have been the same or close to it, but I've got Clemson there.
Yeah.
The defending national champs, they're not the same team they were last year. They're a little weaker, it seems. But, yeah, I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and leave them at number 3.
All right, this was tough, but I've got LSU at number 2. I'm thinking of this, trying to compare them to Bama. I don't see them beating Alabama later in the season, but I think LSU, even with that one loss, has a great opportunity to still make in the playoff, and I think they can do a lot of damage. They're a really great team.
Aaron?
All right, number 2, I have Wisconsin.
Oh,
So the
gosh.
reason I have Wisconsin is because
Are you a little Big Ten?
dominated. No, it's just until they prove otherwise. I mean, until they prove that they're not, they have the second best resume, I think, because they dominated Michigan, and
You're telling.
I don't remember who they played today. Honestly, I just went blank. But they dominated whoever that was.
Michigan
as well.
State.
Yeah, 38-0.
which has a very good run defense.
Michigan State sucks. They lost to Arizona State.
Which is ranked right now.
They lost to Arizona State at home.
They
Okay.
Wisconsin beat South Florida 49-0. Central Michigan 61-0. Michigan 35-14.
I'm not saying. I'm saying Wisconsin's a good team.
Yeah, 21.
Wisconsin's a really good team. They just
24-15.
have-
Kent State
haven't really
48-0
played
and
anybody.
Michigan State 38-0.
Do I
So
think
they've
they're
had
the
4
second best
shutouts.
team?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I think they're going to wind up and end up being the second best team. I'm saying right now
I
they
know
have
what you're
the
saying.
best resume
I know what you're saying.
so far. Like, that's all I'm getting at. That's why I
So-
said I made different lists.
so you're
'Cause
telling me-
there's different ways to look at this.
Okay.
And number 2, I've got LSU. I think they are the second best or the best team in the country. I still think that Alabama barely edges them out. But yeah, I think in my personal theory and what I'd like to see play out is Alabama beats LSU. LSU wins the rest of their games. Alabama wins the SEC championship, and then we get a rematch in the college football playoff, and it would also be a
No.
rematch for 2011.
No, please no.
I'm not saying that was going to happen, but I think it'd be fun.
All right. My number 1, pretty easy, Alabama. Defense isn't as good as it usually is, but the offense, best it's ever been for Alabama. Nobody's stopping their wide receivers man to man. We had the best quarterback in the country. Easily my number 1 team.
Now, Aaron, I want you to wait because I want you to go last because I'm curious to see who you
Yeah.
put here. But I'm going to go ahead and put Alabama there, too, for all the exact same reasons. Nothing else
Yep.
really needs to be explained.
Nope.
I just think they're the best in the country right now.
All right, so number 1, I have LSU because
that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
They've just because they've got the best resume overall by far. And do I think they're going to beat Bama? No. Do I think this is how this list is going to end up? By no means, not even remotely close. But for right now, they by far have the best 2 wins out of anybody in the country, and they also look extremely well while doing it.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think those two are pretty interchangeable right now. So.
Yeah, if I was gonna do it like y'all, I would have Bama at number 1, and I'd probably have Clemson at number 2, or vice versa. Then I would have LSU, and then I would probably have Ohio State up there, and Oklahoma up there, and Wisconsin and Penn State would be, down until proven. But as of right now, their schedules are much better than just from what they've played so far. They're not in the long term, but for right now they've played.
I think it's good to look at
Ohio State and Bama.
I think it's good to look at it in different ways too. It makes it a little more interesting. So I've got nothing against that, but it was definitely surprising.
That's why I said I had
interesting.
I had a couple of lists. Told you.
Well,
sitting right outside mine, I also did on 11 and 12 because I didn't know if y'all would bring it up. But 11 is Notre Dame, and 12 is Oregon.
Yeah, actually,
they both have 1 losses, and the only reason I put Notre Dame ahead of Oregon is I don't know actually. Them and Oregon are about 11 and 12, and Georgia and Auburn about 9 and 10 for me. So those 4, as long as they go right there, and then the rest is like I said.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been a bit of a long episode, so we appreciate you sticking with us. Remember to check out our new website, thegamemanagers.com. Just those 3 words. And you can find us on social media at TGMPod on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And you can email us in with your questions and suggested topics at gamemanagerspod@gmail.com. You can follow me personally at Norisosaurus. That's NORRISOSAURUS. And I always ask this. You guys always say no. Is there anywhere people can find you?
Just look up my name on Facebook.
Look up Justin Knight on Facebook. Aaron is silent. You can find us on Patreon. We will have some content up there soon. We have some good plans for stuff. We just got to find some time to do it.
We should do one next Saturday.
Yeah, we will. We will do that.
Playing the Doug Flutie game.
Yeah, we'll do it. So next Saturday, we're going to record, and then that'll be up sometime the next week. You can subscribe for some future content wherever you're listening, whether that be on your podcast app or on YouTube. And leave a nice review if you like the show. That really helps us out more than anything. So,
or tell us we really suck.
Or tell us we really suck and really hurt us. That's fine, too.
Yeah.
Shirts are available at TeePublic. I'm wearing one right now. I know I say that every weekend, but they're my Saturday shirts, and they're really comfortable. We're also doing giveaways. We have a weekly giveaway for the winner of Tide vs. Tigers Trivia. If you want to participate in that, be sure to go check out our Facebook. I think we usually post the giveaway on Wednesdays, so check that out. We also are doing ticket giveaways for both Alabama and Auburn football games, so look at our Facebook for that too. And I believe that is the show.
That should be it.
Should be it. I'm not sure if we lost Aaron. I think we might have lost him.
Yeah, I think he's asleep.
His mic must have come unplugged or something. Hopefully.
All right, well,
don't lose any audio.
War Eagle, guys.
War Eagle, I'll say adios for Aaron. Y'all have a good night.
He can't hear me, but I'm still here. Adios. 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 Adios.